crying, and this poor thing looks so scared.
So you're probably wondering why we have a picture of a seal right now.
I'm not.
It was Emily's idea, but anyway.
Throw me under the bus then. Okay, it's a cute seal.
Okay, so the SEAL framework is what you're learning in your first assessment piece,
Yeah.
which is to create weekly reflections on what you're learning throughout the semester. And that can be anything. It can be from the guest lecturers, what you're learning in the lectures, what you're learning from the textbook.
What you're learning from the industry interviews.
Yep.
So basically it stands for situation, effect, action, and learning. You're going to hate those words by the end of this class, but I promise you that it's really important.
So starting with S. S stands for situation, and the situation is what has informed your reflection.
Yeah, so it's the key takeaway from your readings, your lecture, whatever platform you've chosen to analyse this reflection. So it might be, for example,
in relation to categorization of publics.
Yeah, it might just be, I've learned that publics don't just include external publics, it also includes internal publics, which is really important and often overlooked in PR.
And that's all you need. It's as simple as that. Don't try don't try assimilating a whole range of different theoretical concepts and into one nasty...
Yeah, don't overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, don't overwork it.
It's 200 really words, just butt out a sentence, this is what you've learnt, and then move on to the next section.
Try and keep one situation per SEAL reflection.
Yeah, yeah.
And effect.
Scare this little guy. He's so cute. The effect. So the effect is the effect that this situation has had on you. So it might affect your learning, it might have affected your action, which we're going to get to later. So basically, in relation to what we were talking about earlier with categorizing publics, you might say that the effect of this knowledge has been to change the way in which I'm going to approach my next assessment, or it might be changing the approach I'm going to do when I'm designing an advertisement for my current job. It's just a simple, how has this affected you?
And the important thing is to note from what Emily just said is that she's kept it time relevant. We're not talking about having an action relevant to your career in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
Keep it at a real micro level.
Because we know that seems a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, so Caroline just wants to see that you've thought about the theory, you've analysed your understanding of it, and then how it's going to inform you in the immediate time.
And the effect might actually be something as simple as, this is new knowledge to me. I didn't know this before, and it's affected me by informing me about publics, which is cool.
Yeah, it's completely fine. And next, so we have
action. Oh, it seems difficult and ridiculous, but
as we said for effect, it's not something that you want to be thinking about on like a 10-year scale.
Yeah, you don't want to be saying, the knowledge that I've learnt now is going to affect my action when I'm a managing director of a fancy PR firm in Brisbane. We want to know, okay, so this is new knowledge to me. I'm going to action it by changing the way I approach my assessment.
Correct. Could be that simple.
Yeah, it is. It's the key for this SEAL framework is that it is simple. It's basically 4 sentences, just analysing what it is you've learnt, how it's affected you, a little action on what you're going to take about it, so something weekly, which is important because it helps reinforce the information.
Right.
And then the learning.
Yeah, so L stands for learning, and that's basically a simple, succinct sentence encapsulating the key take-home message from this reflection. Yeah. So if it's about the publics, it could be, now I understand the importance of researching thoroughly about the publics to ensure that I don't have any inconsistencies that emerge down the track that could potentially derail a whole project.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for example, one of the places I interned at recently, they were doing a project for a client who wanted to have an activation in the city. They got to the final production phase of it where they were just about to start the activation. And their client came up to them and said, oh, one thing, we forgot to tell you that this is our actual audience. So this PR company had been basing their whole campaign off an audience who
they weren't trying to target.
Yeah.
That's actually what nightmares are made of.
Yeah,
It's a horror
so,
story.
but the important take home from that is that you need to research your publics, and that if you don't, there are some severe consequences for it.
Yeah, and your client isn't always going to know the publics. If you think that the UQ Museum knows exactly who they want to target, they might, but the chances are they don't. And
Yeah.
it's much better for you just to take the time to sit down and go,
Yeah, to research.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little bit extra on publics, though. We're not talking about publics, we're talking about the SEAL framework.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah,
It's just
we're going a bit
interesting
off track.
Tidbit, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the SEAL framework. You'll have about 10 throughout the semester, off the top of my memory.
Yeah,
Yep.
10, because they're 200 words each
Yep.
and you've got to write 2,000. Do
Yes.
not leave it to the last minute.
She's talking from personal experience, guys.
Please! I did it, yep. Aiden did it weekly. You can see he's smiling. I have that dead look in my eye. It's a lot of work to do all at once, and there are so many benefits from doing it week by week. Firstly, it doesn't leave it all to the end, so the chances are you're going to get a much better result at the end of it. I didn't do too badly, but still, it's a difference between a 6 and a 7.
It just helps sink in the theory and what you're learning
Yeah.
a hell of a lot more doing it on an iterative basis.
Yeah, and if you're learning it step by step, week by week, it makes the content easier to absorb, it helps you understand it, and it helps you then apply it to your second assessment
Yeah.
and then to your third assessment.
So what
yeah.
we'd recommend doing is that if you're thinking of taking a situation that you'd like to reflect on from your textbook, highlight that, and then just put a note there, just reminding yourself
Don't
that
highlight
this
it
is...
if it's a library
Oh,
book,
if it's
they don't
li-
like that.
Yeah. Or just underscore it with a pencil and then just write SEAL next to it so that you know that that's a prompt that you may want to talk about.
Yeah,
in
or
your reflection.
as you're reading, if you come across something that you find particularly interesting or that you think you can grab a situation, an effect, an action, which is hard, and learning from,
Just do it
write
there
it
and
straight
then.
away, do it
Yeah.
straight away, get it out of your mind so that you can just put that aside and then you can continue reading and absorbing the content, hopefully.
It's quite simple. It's not meant to be difficult. It's basically just you talking about your learning. Carolyn just wants to see that you're learning the content, that you're thinking about it critically.
And you're taking it on board
Yeah, and you're potentially applying it,
to what you're learning, which is
and you are applying it to
what she's going to, in the end, it's what she's going to mark you against, so you
Yeah,
can get a grade.
and just to contextualize it a bit for a proper PR setting, employers do look for people who are constantly like analysing their own performance and what they're doing, and they want to see that you're improving. So that's
Caroline told him that yesterday.
yeah. Thanks, Caroline. That's yours. So they do look for that.
Yeah, they do. And the SEAL framework is also a framework that you're going to use every time you evaluate basically anything. So in both your second assessment, which is purely analytical, and the third assessment where you do have to analyse your own actions in an evaluation, the SEAL framework gives you a basis of, okay, how am I going to start this analysis?
Yeah, and
So-
also the SEAL reflections, they are sort of the basic framework of the major reports that you'll do at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
In a proper consultancy role.
Yeah,
Like when you're
yeah.
reflecting on the success of a project.
And you're
So
going to
they
use
are
them.
relevant.
You're going to use them throughout the rest of your university courses. I think we used it in 3140.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those who
So-
don't know, 3140 is the more advanced continuation of,
Issues and stakeholder engagement.
which is a lot of fun, by the way. So
Yeah.
that's something to look forward to in your third year. So yeah, that's the SEAL framework. We'll be posting some, send us your questions if you have any based on the SEAL framework.
Yeah.
Because we'd like to start getting up some proper like frequently asked questions documents for each of what you're learning each week.
Yeah, so we've started formulating them, and we've started formulating some sort of like cheat sheet kind of things. Not cheat sheets, but a little bit of tips on how to get through it. So if you have any questions, if there's anything else you want to learn about, just message it under the video link on
Yeah.
Facebook, or message us over Facebook. Just let us
Yeah.
know. Preferably post them to the Facebook page. That way you get not just Aidan and I's opinion, but also Caroline's and all of your tutors.
Yeah, and not just that, you're benefiting your whole cohort as well.
Yeah,
by
because there's no
them
competitions
seeing-
other than Caroline's chocolate competitions, which are really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we'd love to continue the conversation. That's how you do it, by emailing us, or
I
posting
feel
on
like
Facebook.
a YouTuber. Like the link below. Sorry.
We'll put a link in below, especially for everyone today, for this exclusive offer for learning more about the SEAL framework.
Which we all know you're so excited about.
Yep, so that's all from us for now. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Cool, done.